Good morning and welcome to the kickoff of 2020 National Minority Enterprise Development Week. We are so excited to be here with you today. My name is Antavia Grimsley, your host for the week and program manager for National Med Week at the Minority Business Development Agency, also known as MBDA. We are excited to celebrate 37 years of National Med Week, and for the first time ever, our conference has gone virtual. Since 1983, every president has issued a proclamation designating a National Minority Enterprise Development Week, Med Week, to recognize the contributions of the minority business community to the U.S. economy. In building this virtual conference, MBDA put you first. This week, you will hear from top business owners, minority business leaders, government officials, corporate executives, and minority business enterprises from around the world. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce the MBDA National Director, Mr. David J. Byrd.
Antavia said it, and I agree. We are super excited about this week's MedWeek celebration and virtual conference. We thank you for spending part of your day with us, and we know the conference events will deliver insights, guidance, and motivation you seek during these unprecedented times. Yes, I am David Byrd, the last time I checked my badge, and I serve as the National Director of the Minority Business Development Agency. I've enjoyed a 28-year career in public service at the county, state, and federal levels, several positions directly linked with urban economic development, small and minority business development. Along the way, I've also had the opportunity to own and operate my own business. Coming full circle, I'm honored to lead an agency that was also home to several of my career mentors who were instrumental in shaping the mission of MBDA since its founding in 1969. For those joining MedWeek for the first time, and maybe even meeting the agency for the first time, allow me to provide a brief introduction. MBDA is the only federal agency solely dedicated to the growth and global competitiveness of minority-owned businesses. When MBDA was first established in 1969, there were approximately 332,000 minority-owned businesses. Today, that number has grown to nearly 11 million firms, 6 million employees, $1.8 trillion to the U.S. economy. We are proud to say that for more than 50 years, in fact, this month is 51, MBDA has continuously evolved to meet the needs of minority businesses. MBDA's grant programs and national initiatives help create greater access to capital, contracts, and markets. In addition to our network of programs, MBDA's national initiatives provide direct services to minority businesses throughout the community. Those national initiatives include Enterprising Women of Color, the Envision Tour, the Minority Business Technology Initiative featuring Amazon Business, and the $1 Billion Fund. While attending the conference, I invite you to tour the virtual lobby, I hear it's great, and connect with MBDA to get to know us and to work with us. Now back to the MedWeek celebration and a closer look at today's agenda. You are now viewing MBDA Live, and I invite you to return each morning to our special announcements, special guests, and agenda updates. Our next event will be the first of a 5-part program titled the How I Did It series featuring the 2020 National MedWeek Award winners. ABC correspondent Lindsay Davis hosts a series that shares the amazing stories of vision, perseverance, and triumph. Starting tomorrow, MedWeek hosts the Ecosystem Sessions with keynote speakers, industry experts, and procurement professionals. But that's not all. To close out the week-long celebration, MBDA's National Network of Business Centers and Specialty Centers will host the inaugural Buy MBE Day in cities across the country starting Saturday, September 19th. Are you as excited as I am? Well, I'm excited. Don't forget to visit the conference lobby and see the event details. I now have the distinct honor of introducing our first speaker, U.S. Department of Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross. Secretary Ross is the principal voice of business in the administration, ensuring that U.S. entrepreneurs and businesses have the tools they need to create jobs and economic opportunity. Under Executive Order 11625, Secretary Ross has the responsibility for the growth and competitiveness of minority-owned businesses, and Secretary Ross has delegated that responsibility and authority to MBDA. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Wilbur Ross.
Thank you, David, for that kind introduction and for your inspired leadership of the Minority Business Development Agency. It is my pleasure to participate in this year's Minority Enterprise Development Week. This is the 37th year that this conference has been held, and I congratulate the MBDA staff for making this year's event even more important than ever before. Minority and women-owned companies are essential to the economic health of our nation. We commend all of you for persevering through one of the most difficult periods in American history. Your businesses employ 6 million Americans. You contribute $1.8 trillion to the U.S. economy. You are doing the work of the nation. Thank you. We will continue to do everything we can to help you succeed. Although this year's event is virtual, there are some benefits to having a nationwide broadcast. Many more minority businesses can tune in and learn from the sterling group of executives and experts on each day's program. The How I Did It series, running all of this week, is truly excellent. Minority and women speakers from the private sector will be sharing what they have learned successfully to fill niches, hire workers, and generate the wealth needed for a modern society. As our nation recovers from the pandemic, we will depend even more on the innovative and resilient spirit of minority businesses operating from coast to coast. Just prior to the shutdowns earlier this year, our minority businesses were thriving. The unemployment rates for minorities and women were at their lowest points in recorded history. The last time the U.S. unemployment rate had dropped to 3.5% was way back in 1969. Today, we are engaged in a massive rebuilding of the U.S. economy. There are extensive resources being dedicated to developing a vaccine and to installing the equipment needed to produce it on a massive scale. When the pandemic ends, and it will end, there will be pent-up demand for thousands of products and services. The travel and hospitality industries will once again flourish as people finally have an opportunity to visit loved ones, and as company representatives get back on the road to meet with employees and customers throughout the country and throughout the world. One very positive, although often overlooked, economic indicator is the U.S. savings rate. In July, it stood at almost 18%, with Americans saving $3.2 trillion on an annualized basis. And during the early months of the pandemic, the U.S. savings rate soared to an almost unimaginable 34%. Once Americans feel more confident about the economy, some of those savings are going to be spent. So I truly believe that businesses soon will flourish as never before. That's just what happened after the 1918 pandemic, and I don't see why it wouldn't happen again after the 2020 pandemic. We will continue to reduce the regulations that make it so hard for you to expand and to grow. We are supporting the Opportunity Zones initiative that provides companies with lucrative tax breaks to invest in underdeveloped communities. There are now nearly 9,000 communities in the country designated as Opportunity Zones, and many of the residents of those communities are minorities. According to a recent report by the Council of Economic Advisors, by the end of last year, $75 billion had been invested in qualified opportunity zones. $52 billion of that amount would not have been invested without the Opportunity Zones initiative. During the COVID-19 response, the Minority Business Development Agency has allocated $10 million in CARES Act funds to its business centers and to national minority chambers of commerce throughout the country. These centers and chambers are providing minority enterprises with resources during these challenging times. Later this week, MBDA will honor a select group of minority businesses and their advocates with National MED Week awards. The award winners will be featured in an innovative How I Did It series of videos. You will also have a chance to hear from Kimberly Reed, President and Chairman of the Export-Import Bank. MBDA and the Exim Bank signed an important memorandum of understanding last week to provide funding to minority-owned companies for them to engage in global markets. And this year, for the first time ever, we've created an awareness campaign to encourage consumers to patronize minority businesses. It is called Buy from a Minority Business Enterprise Day. The first annual Buy MBE Day will be this Saturday, September 19th. I encourage everyone to promote this day among friends, family, and colleagues, and to help get it established in the minds of millions of American shoppers. Even more important, I hope that each of you go out and support your local minority and women-owned enterprises. MBDA centers located throughout the country can help direct you to minority-owned firms in your area. I, too, look forward to participating in this inaugural occasion, although I'm not yet sure what I'm going to buy. Again, thank you for tuning in to this week's Minority Enterprise Development Week. Supporting the country's minority-owned companies is more important now than ever before. We are extremely proud of all of you and of the role you play as vital pillars of our nation's economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary, for joining us here today. Each day, we will close MBDA Live segment recognizing outstanding performance by our national network of MBDA business centers called the Century Club Awards. I congratulate today's winners and most importantly, thank you for your service. To further explain the recognitions and to present the awards is MBDA's Grants Program Manager, Nikita Chambers, who didn't let me in on the protocols of what color I should have worn today. Nikita?
Good morning. I am Nikita Chambers, Program Manager in the Office of Business Development. I lead a team of dedicated program analysts, and I oversee a budget of $26.5 million in grants and cooperative agreements. As the program manager for the grants, I develop the program solicitations, leads the review and evaluation of grant applications, and oversee the financial management of the federal funding that is awarded. Since June, we have awarded $10 million in grants in support of the CARES Act. I would like to take time to recognize the MBDA business centers and specialty centers who made the Century Club by overachieving performance goals by 100% or more on contracts and procurements, financing, and jobs created. On behalf of MBDA headquarters, we would like to thank you for all of your hard work and dedication to minority businesses. Without further delay, I would like to announce the first six winners. The Detroit MBDA Business Center, the San Antonio Export Project, the Columbia MBDA Business Center, the St. Louis MBDA Business Center, and the Pasadena MBDA Business Center. Last but not least for today, the Denver MBDA Business Center. That's all for today until tomorrow with more winners. I will now turn the program back over to your host, Miss Antavia Grimsley.
Thank you, Nikita. And Mr. Byrd, we'll make sure that you're color coordinating with us from here on out. Thank you, Nikita. Coming up next is our How I Did It series. Today's theme is reimagining impact. Stay right where you are. You are moments away from a great Midweek event.